Hi guys, part 3. The saga continues. Could be a part 4, may not be. So, pardon my appearance. This is why I'm single, because who would want to wake up to this? No sleep last night. I just needed to get these videos done and stop procrastinating and hesitating and doubting myself, and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna wing it. So topics, music, lyrics, and photographic process regarding biophoton and photonic energy. Okay, so let's start with music and lyrics. Best subject ever. Perfect background music as usual. What's playing? Serenity of Suffering. Hint, hint. Corn. Rotting in Vain is the name of the song. So, I made some notes this time because without my notes, I'm just topic to topic to topic. But, I mean, as soon as an idea comes into my head, I speak on it, get it out, because as soon as it goes in, it's gone. So if I don't, then I won't remember. Here today, gone tomorrow. Okay, so we are talking about the New World Order and their agenda for control, manipulation, and instilling a one government, one religion, one source of information regime. And my generation, born in the 70s, and basically growing up early 90s, we were just so full of angst, and we were born aware to the ways of this world and the corrupt ways of the rulers of the world. And a lot of us have been defeated and just couldn't take the pain and suffering. And I've lost so many of my brothers and sisters, not blood relation, but my tribe, suicide, overdoses. Just, I can't even stomach losing one more person that I love. I can't fathom that anymore. So, 1994, first time I heard on regular radio when I was living in Albuquerque, New Mexico for a while, Blind by Korn. And as soon as I heard that drop and are you ready, I was like, yes, I am. And instantaneous, every concert, like loyal, because the lyrics of the music, older generations wouldn't even listen to the bands in the new metal, grunge era, alternative, whatever label you want to call it, 90s era, hard rock and metal, because it was too loud and they didn't take the time to listen to the messages. They just, I can't, So you figure Korn, right? The albums, Issues, Life is Peachy, Black Labyrinth, The Paradigm Shift, and The Serenity of Suffering. And what I love about them, Jonathan Davis, we've kind of lived parallel lives. So many similarities, just so many. It's uncanny sometimes the way that, I'm not a freaking, psycho fan, obsessive weirdo or anything. I just, when you vibe with certain people, whether you have physically ever shaken their hand or spoken to them, or they don't even know you exist, you speak the same language, you vibrate on the same frequency, you're on the same wavelength. So every lyric was like he was looking into my soul and then writing lyrics and performing it, and I'm like, okay, that, like, there's actually one person in this world that gets it. And so things that happened to him when he was younger, John Davis, he was told that he needed to go to gay camp, and he tried, like, I'm not gay, We were a different breed. I mean, we were rebels, loud, just non-conforming freaks, outcasts, misfits, rebels, just like Limp Bizkit calls it, Generation X, Generation Strange. If you listen to their song, My Generation, that's how I feel, And we were written off as the loser generation of, never going to go anywhere, and look what pathetic, this generation broken, they're dropping like flies with addictions and offing themselves and blah, 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 blah. But the fact of the matter is that because we were so advanced and so aware from a very young age, we had no one and no way and nowhere to express the truth. And, like for me, for instance, let's say my dad, Annapolis trained, naval Vietnam veteran, raised Catholic, like that's his way, that's the way it's going to be, military, like, you don't think for yourself anymore. You're told what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and you don't ask questions. You don't speak back. You don't, defy anything. You just bow down, do what you're told, and toe the line, walk the line, and, Now, my dad was injured when he was stationed in Hawaii, so he was honorably discharged. And then for the rest of his career, he came back and served this country even more by being a letter carrier for the United States Postal Service. And so, like, when my parents, when I was young teen, 15, 16, and going through, misunderstood, nobody could correctly diagnose me, or, besides my IQ, but they didn't look at the intuitive aspects of the brain, the emotional aspects, the physiological, the neurological aspects. They just looked at the intellect and, okay, you're super smart. But they didn't realize that makes you the minority in society. So you'd never have anybody. So I was sent to a treatment center for a couple months at 15, and put on my very first antidepressant, which was Zoloft, when I was 15 or 16, and then graduated Prozac. And while I was prescribed Prozac, that's actually one of the medications that I tried to overdose with. I swallowed 40-some Prozac, and then I was taken to the hospital, and they pumped me full of charcoal, and that's really gross. But anyways, and we were, to me, I can't speak for any of them, like, Chester Bennington from Linkin Park, Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park, Rage Against the Machine, System of a Down. Oh man, there's just so many bands, and nobody would take the time to listen because they couldn't understand this new style of music that was original and unheard of. So it's dismissed, as we were, out of sight, out of mind. That's how I felt when my parents sent me away, is like, wow, really? And so I just got worse and worse, and I rebelled and defied everyone even more because I was so angry that there was not one person in my world that I could even speak to. And I'll tell you something else. Now, of course, my mom passed away in 2014, but my dad, my sisters, they all know my childhood of, intellectual things, and they feel like I'm a failure or a disappointment. And they don't have to say it. I feel it because I pick up on signals and comments and remarks and things like that. And it just shows me that I never measured up. And my family, they're good, loving, kind, decent, generous people that really couldn't hurt a fly. But so it's like my mom, she was so innocent and prude, a child of the 50s, poodle skirts and Motown and doo-wop, and just a light that would just, any room she entered glowed with her presence, and there wasn't anything she wouldn't do for anyone. And so anyways, my parents never really talked to my sisters or me about anything important. And I had to learn everything either by experiencing it or studying it, because I couldn't get answers from my parents except what they were indoctrinated with by their parents, by the ancestors before them. These systems and these constructs and institutions and slavery machines of corruption have been in play for a very long time. So as each generation is born into it, then they teach their children, and then they teach their children, and so on and so forth. The vicious cycle continues. So, somebody has to break the cycle, right? Well, who better than this loudmouth freak, right? So that's what I do. And my dad, to this day, he won't talk to me. He thinks that because of the kids being, with my ex and my former drug and alcohol problems and suicide attempts and blah, 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 that I screwed my life and there's no hope for me. Now, does he love me? Yes. But when I try to speak to him and explain that the things that I have done have been a direct result, reaction to something that was there prior. I mean, what child, any parent out there, whether you consider yourself a good parent, a bad parent, whatever, if you're a parent, can anyone honestly say that that little innocent baby, toddler, preschooler daydreams and says, I aspire to be a dope fiend one day, or maybe a crack whore, or serve slop at a fast food restaurant and run a cash register? Yes. And so my dad's like, well, you need a job, any job is, and I'm like, no, Dad, it's not the way I roll. I don't want to settle for what people think, any job making $7.25 an hour minimum wage. That's how you're going to make it in this world. Hard work, blood, sweat, and tears. Well, having blood, sweat, and tears for 42 years, I'm a poet and don't know it. It doesn't work. And so for instance, okay, the song Insane by Korn, perfect example. Like screaming out, it's almost as if you are invisible in a crowded room, screaming your brains out for somebody, anybody, to just hear you crying out for help, and everyone has their backs turned to you, and they're deaf and blind, and not one turns around to even notice, much less care, much less say, you okay? Never happened for me. And so my actions, which I made a long, steady stream of poor choices because all I wanted was out of this game and this pain and this suffering and being alone, and all you have is you, and people sit here and, oh, you're crazy because you talk to yourself. Well, who the fuck else is there? So if you can show me somebody, I'd happily, joyously speak to somebody else. But all I've known is how to speak to myself. And, so back to what I was saying, in that song, Insane, screaming, it's not like I'm insane. Like, we're not crazy. We've been trying to wake people the F up for a very long time. This takes me to my next point, which, since mass awakenings in consciousness are happening globally, and it's very new to others who have been asleep for a very long time, they are already taking their experiences and teaching them. And that's a dangerous thing to do, because let me tell you a little something about spirituality and trance states of meditation and communing with spirits. The reason the dark or evil or soulless or unconscious spirits are called deceivers is because that's what they do. They're all about tricking you, deceiving you, illusions, pretending to be something they're not. So let's say you're listening to a spiritual teacher or a channel who channels spirit messages, right? And I have a message from Archangel Michael. And it ends up being some evil entity who lies, because that's what they do, and transforms their auric energy to match the vibration that you're looking for. And if you don't know exactly how to deal with spirits, you better not open that can of worms. And you furthermore should not teach others to do it that have no supervision or training. It's a game of life and death, honestly. Dark, evil entities and spirits very much form attachments to especially beings with a lot of light. And they're referred to as energy vampires. Or parasites, because they attach to a host, they suck out the life force, they get bloated, and the host dies. It gets like a spider, with its prey in the web, sucks out the insides, and then the dry carcass is there. That's what they do. They steal light because they have none, and they are like addicted to it. They just, salivate over it. And some stuff's pretty evil as far as occult practices. And my sister is full-on fantastic Wiccan, all about Mother Earth and Gaia and Goddess and God, but there are those who perform hexes, evil eyes. There's voodoo and hoodoo queens and kings that, practice dark magic, light magic in all realms. So if you are not of sound mind, body, and spirit, and of 100% absolute clear discernment and perception and knowing how to confront these spirits and determine whether it's a truth or a false, it's a dangerous game. That's all I want to say is be forewarned, man, they don't play. And I know this because it happened to me. When you experiment or have an addiction with any type of psychotropic, or even prescribe them, oh my God, or psychedelic, trance type of substance, or you are vibrating so low and so negative from anger and pain and suffering, that's like their little loophole, and they're right there. And man, if it continues, it will suck the life from you and you die. And I'm very leery about all these people, newly awakened that have no experience, and they're already teaching. It's like, okay, first learn, experience, learn. Don't just automatically, oh, that's it, and now I'm going to show others, because you could potentially inadvertently cause the death of someone by teaching them things, and they are new to it. They don't know what to do. You gave them misinformation, and now, they're channeling some demon, and the demon's proclaiming to be an angel of God, or an ancient, whatever. Lowercase, I call them lowercase g's, gods and goddesses, and there's uppercase, OG, Omega, Alpha, right? Spiritual realms are nothing to play with. I look at the, I think it's on Travel Channel, Zach Bagans, right? Ghost Adventures. He could tell you. Amy from Dead Files, she could tell you. And it's just, without someone who is experienced, guiding you, supervising you, I wouldn't even play with that fire, man. I'm just being straight up. I wouldn't even touch it. And that's just because I care, and so I'm offering that advice, putting it out there. As the Wiccan rule goes, do as ye will and harm ye none. So to each his own. You got to make your own choice. Nobody can do it for you, but I always taught my kids, make good choices. I repeated it so many times that at their ages today, they roll their eyes, and I'm like, what does mom always say? I know, make good choices. I was like, made sure, because every single thing in life is based upon a choice. That is the root. So you make a good choice, you get a reward. You make a poor choice, consequence or lesson or discipline, or whatever. So you can make a good choice, you're going to do well. It's very simple. And my sister is a year and a half younger than me, and we both were, I don't even know how to say it, because I've never spoken about it before to anyone except my sister. We had negative spirit interaction when we were very young, very young. I'm talking like by that age. And I can't go into that right now because it's really traumatic and really disgusting. But is what it is. And in order to release it, you have to learn how. And it took me a long time. And so you think of like a tick, right? That attaches to a dog or a cat or a deer or something. And it just sucks the blood till it bloats, serves no purpose, and the host dies, withers away. No point. It's pointless. And in my opinion, certain creatures that exist right now were bioengineered in labs. that serve no purpose of anything on this planet. So if it serves no purpose, there's no need for it to be here. And yeah, I'm looking at my time ticking away on the thing here. I told you I go off on these freaking side tangents if I don't have my notes right in front of me, which I do, but have I looked at them? Once. So, music, lyrics, if anybody really wants to know the truth about these corrupt systems, governments, religions, New World Order, and their agenda for depopulation and control of the planet and corrupting and perverting and polluting and the blame game and the stupid, ridiculous jail sentences and, you know, I'll get into that in a future one. There's a difference between a user and a dealer, or an addict and a provider, or, you know, the seller, the buyer. You don't penalize or punish somebody that has problems and issues and codependency and addiction. You prosecute the ones supplying them with the shit. You know, get help for the people that are suffering. You don't lock them away like they deserve it. It's like I said, I didn't at 5 years old think, oh yes, I can't wait to try to kill myself. Yes, and disappoint my family. Yes, that's what I'm gonna do. You know, no one does. We are all products of the environment that we were born into. And my family unit was good and strong and pure and right. And my dad's favorite saying, as a matter of fact, well, 2 wrongs don't make a right. And he's correct, you know, it's absolutely correct. But can't tell him nothing. That's the way it is. That's the way it's going to be. And he ain't changing his mind. And Lord knows how I have tried to open this man's mind, just because I love him so much and because he's done so much for me, my family, and all of you in America. So, Spike in My Veins is another one by Korn. Watch the video when you listen to the song. You'll see. Well, those who have eyes to see will see, and those who have ears to hear will hear. If you don't, maybe one day you'll open your mind, pay attention. Then you got Chester Bennington with Linkin Park, right? Somewhere I Belong. Man, I was like, yep, exactly. Somewhere, please. Or Korn. Somebody, someone. Anyone, just one. And it's like, you just, nobody gets it. So anyways, well, the posthumous after death of Chester Bennington, which again, in my personal opinion, was not a suicide in the exact same manner as Chris Cornell on the birthday, in the same way of hanging on a bathroom door. Like, I know suicide personally, and if I'm trying to kill myself, it's not going to be hanging on a bathroom door. It's going to be a surefire way to get it done. And with head injuries, come on. And coincidentally, ironically, truthfully, they were involved in an organization to rescue abused and trafficked children, and they were about to expose some very powerful people in these rings who buy and sell children to own them for whatever, use your imagination, okay? And based on how much of this you got, you could customize your order. Disgusting. And they were about to expose these very powerful people, and then they just end up both committing suicide. And come on, man. So, and I've listened to that man over 25 plus years pour his heart and soul out on stage, explaining what happened to him. Hold up a picture of him, Chester Bennington, next to Podesta. Maybe you won't see a resemblance, maybe you will. I do. And I've heard audio on, which another thing, I do not suggest anyone going onto the dark web, where you find the sites like 8chan and 4chan. Really dark, not nice place. Lots of disgusting shit on there. But for me, I can handle it. I don't have a soft, stomach or anything. And I'm not going to look at anything that's unnecessary and I don't need to look at. I went there to research and find out facts that isn't in mainstream on Google or, on the internet that everyone has access to. This is backdoor shit and it's sick shit. And there's audio of Chester as a child and whoever's voice, the dad, the father in the background, taunting him and screaming at him, call me daddy, call me dad. And I'm like, you sick fucker. And that poor thing, So let me get back to this. Mark Morton from the band Lamb of God and Chester Bennington, posthumous after death, released a song earlier this year called Cross Off. I would suggest watching the video and listening to the lyrics very carefully to that too. These musicians and artists, gifted musical geniuses, are prophets. Just nobody took the time to listen to the message. And they exposed their wounds on stage. If you listen to Korn, the song Daddy, when John breaks down at the end, and I saw an interview and the guys were like, oh, we just kept playing because we didn't, really know what to do, and we just thought, let him go and get it out. And it wasn't about his dad, it was about somebody else in his life that abused him in different ways. And I still, to this day, look, I'm gonna cry, When somebody's being real and authentic and showing emotion, they're not a fucking liar. And for a man like that to break down and bare his soul, or Chester, or anybody that's been through any kind of abuse or trauma or anything like that, molestation, rape, anything, I know how that is. And I give them so much love and props for ripping their wounds open every time they get on a stage to try to spare just someone else from having to suffer. So I use that, and I wear things like this to remind myself of the sacrifices, full sacrifices, all these that I admire and love suffered and suffer through currently to keep being courageous and speaking out and trying to do something good. And I hate this. I hate being on camera. I hate being in the spotlight. I hate being critiqued, judged, scrutinized. Like I'm performing again as a child. I'm being graded, and it's very traumatic. And I get really anxious, so I'm sweating, okay? Nervous, scared. But then I think of these guys, and I'm like, all right, look at everything they have done or suffered through or lost. If they could do all that, I could do this, okay? So that's what gives me the courage to all right, do this freaking video and just, it's all about the greatest good of all. People, animals, plants, the environment, the planet, water, teaching people natural, holistic, Ayurvedic, naturopathic remedies that are free, how to get away from the slave systems of having to punch a clock and live your life based upon a fake clock and fake money and these things that they created to enslave everyone. it's simple to live off the grid if you know how to live off the land and use natural resources. And this is my mission. Upon graduation and in the near far future, some financial whatever is going to happen. And at that point, my dream is to purchase land that is in a mineral-rich environment and build a hempcrete, bamboo, solar panel, natural, hydro, irrigated, grow crops, herbs, have goats for milk and, chickens and natural things, no money system. It's like I want to call it the Reiki Rescue Retreat. And no payment, no fee, no length of time or insurance or anything. If you're suffering, if you have a problem, if you have been hurt, abused, anything like that, addictions, a child, an animal, and I want a place where anybody can go, and there are no requirements or conditions or, differences. All are accepted if they are really, truly seeking help and how to learn and grow from their experiences and make better choices and be healed. And it's basically barter and trade. If I have someone like my sister who's a licensed massage therapist and I'm a Reiki practitioner or a, theologian or something, teacher, then it's service for service, trade for trade, item for item, barter, Somebody has healing crystals and I'm requiring essential oils. Hey, I'll give you 2 of these for 2 of them. It's fair trade, equal. It's not like, well, if you have this insurance, you can come. But if you have this insurance, you only have a week. If you don't perform or grade well, you're out. No, there's no conditions. Unconditional means no conditions, no regulations, rules. It's for those, and I'm really good at discerning someone who has a really true desire and intent and someone who's just being superficial, or maybe it's a half-assed commitment or something. Real good at that. Real good. You don't even have to open your mouth and speak a word. I can just read your energy and I'm like, all right, give me a couple of facts here and I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Depending on the answer, I'll see whether it's a whole truth or a half truth, which is a lie, essentially. So, let's get back to, Killing in the Name Of. That song by Rage Against the Machine, the slave machine, the systems, right? Killing in the name of, some of those who run forces are the same that burn crosses because they wear a badge or a suit and tie or have a title or a standing in society. Behind closed doors, some people have very opposite dark lives that they keep very hush-hush. Lots of skeletons in their closets. So, like KKK members, right? Look at old school Alabama and Georgia back in the day, right? When they were cops, but at night they put the hoods on and hung nooses from trees. Sickening. So, when you're being fake, you're a sellout. You're fake. That's just it. Be real. Good, bad, ugly, beautiful, and brutal. And that's what I guarantee to everyone that I've ever known and ever will know. You may not like me. You may not agree with me. You may have an opinion or a judgment. But the one thing I don't do is lie. And what you see is what you get. And it goes from beautiful to brutal. But you're going to get the truth from me. Because I can be accountable. I can own things that I've done. And I can use them to gain knowledge and learn from my experiences. I'm not going to say, oh, no, I never did that. No, oh, that wasn't me. Yeah, I did. I fucked up. That's who I am, like, yeah, you're right. I probably should have. I can laugh at myself. I am a walking klutz because I have neurological and physiological disorders. So my balance is off, and I get spasms. So I've dropped millions of dishes and cups, and just my hand will go, and then that's it. And I trip over my own 2 feet, and I could sit there and laugh at myself. Or if I mess up on something, I'm the first one going hysterical at myself. Some people are so offended, like just thin skin, man. And I don't. I have a really thick skin, and that's what people can't take about me, is because I speak the truth. I hold up that mirror, whether they like it or not. Truth is truth, and that's what you're going to get. So it pisses people off because they don't want to hear that. They want to hear how right they are and how good they are and how awesome. And the things they do, they want recognition. But what does it teach in the Bible? Do things without others knowing. Help the needy and keep it quiet. Make a donation anonymously, or don't stand, I've done this, and I'm so wonderful, and look at all I've done for everybody, calling like self-glorification and being self-righteous and seeking that recognition is not how you do it. That is doing it for that reason. It's not doing it for the good of just doing it. So things that I do to help others are without them knowing sometimes, or anonymously, or, having nothing and being homeless myself, sneaking a bag of food to my neighbors that didn't have shit either because I had a little extra. They didn't know it came from me, and they never will. And it's not like I'm going to knock on your door. Look how awesome I am. Here's some food. Come on. So that's what I want to get straight with my videos, is I don't do this for me. I do it for you, okay? My children, my family and relatives, and my soul family, which are these people, and some of you out there who we have connected, and you're my family. I love you. When I say I love you to people, it doesn't mean that every time I'd say to a dude, I love you, that it's a romantic, I'm in love with him and I want to be with him. No, if I say I love you, it's because I do. Brother, sister, family, intimately, sexually, friend, whatever. I still pray for mercy to these psychopaths and sociopaths. That's what they are. They don't have the capacity and consciousness like these real powerful, wealthy rulers of, filth. They don't have the capacity to feel guilt or shame or responsibility or accountability. They can't. It's not that they won't, they cannot grasp that. So in my opinion, it's the same thing. Like some of these people, let's say, okay, a guy murders his girlfriend because he caught her cheating and he was so desperately in love with her, and then he got the death penalty. Well, instead of, therapists and psychiatrists and physicians keeping him alive and learning how the mind of a psychopath or a murderer works, capital punishment. For some reason, one human has the authority over another human based upon a title to end someone's life or begin it? No, you don't. Okay? That's why I'm like the full-term abortion thing. Oh, if these people that legalized this were in front of me right now, I would not be responsible for my actions, but I would be in jail. That I can guarantee. No one has the authority to take another life, a soul, okay? Whether you're raped, whether you, got a little drunk and forgot to use a condom, whether it broke, whether you pull out, whether you, whatever, you made the mistake. You got pregnant or you impregnated. Why is it the innocent, unborn, living soul? We're going to talk about nuclear and molecular atoms and fusion and conception and protons and neutrons and electrons and morons. Okay? Conception. The moment of conception, life is formed. So when I was forced to have my abortion when I was young, I was at the 12-week mark. And according to the law, up till 12 weeks, it was legal because it wasn't really a living soul yet. It was just a fetus. Okay. Well, my son, Samuel, who I named, this is probably why I'm on this rampage, because at the end of June, beginning of July this year, he would be turning 25 right now. So every December, I have a day that I stay to myself. I don't talk to anybody. I grieve that day, the death, the murder, the loss of my child, and being powerless and juvenile and minor to have no say-so in the matter, that right being taken from me, and the 25 years, quarter of a century, suffering and agonizing pain and feeling guilt over it. And the sadness is the worst form of suffering